Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's Cavgnero alongside, seeing out the link so we can get some more viewers for an evaluation race. And if people don't know, so we are just moments away from the start of qualifying. And I'm not. Have you tweeted out yet or no? Oh, he's gone silent. Okay, so we are loading into the session, and we do have some familiar names. Coverage. Go to AOR Fizzy's channel to see that. Commentated with Ali K. That was a fantastic race, actually. We have some drivers, all esports drivers, taking part in today's evaluation race from the esports championship. So let me know when you're all done tweeting that, so we can properly start this. So as the time ticks down from 12 minutes already to 11 and a half. Not many drivers already out, but I can see a couple down the pit lane. The first one out is going to be a Sauber. If I'm correct, it's not loading. Is that Shelly? I'm not exactly sure if that is. It is a Toro Rosso of Shelly. So wrong car, but it is still blue. So multiple drivers trying to go out. It looks like many of them trying to go out in the beginning, since we only have 11 minutes left. As with the new game, I keep mentioning this in every race, that they shorten the qualifying time from 18 to 11 to translate the Q3 time that you would have in real life.
Been linked to Apex Online Racing's Twitter account, so that's why I was quiet initially. But yes, I'm here streaming for the first time. PS Luton Rules here streaming for the first time on YouTube, and we're here for, as I'm sure Alan's already said, the third evaluation race here on the PS4 AOR League. And yeah, as we can tell, qualifying has started, and yeah, it's only a 12-minute session, isn't it?
Well, it started out at 12 minutes. Now we're already down to 10 minutes. But it should be very interesting, since we only have 10 minutes to get in, I believe, at least 20 lap times. We have a full grid, obviously, for the evaluation race, and it should be a good one, as Bahrain is known to be a tricky track depending on your many corners. And if you remember back in 2010, this track had a different format. 2011 it had a little hiatus on the schedule, I believe. Returned to 2012 with the format you see now, I believe. And ever since then, the format's been the same for this circuit. Just in 2014, they put on lights around this circuit, and it has been a night race ever since. And this track never really disappoints. What's your opinion on it?
Oh, Bahrain has a street circuit. No, sorry, I don't know why I said street circuit. No, Bahrain as a race circuit, as a nighttime race circuit. No, honestly, I think it is. I think it's quite a good mix of obviously long straights, but also Sector 2 with that very annoying left-hand curb. Generally, honestly, I think it is certainly a good track to be able to evaluate everyone, which is obviously the point of this race, to evaluate everyone's pace. It's sort of like a friendly race in a sense. They're not competing for anything, but we're just assessing the skill level of everyone here, and I think that this is certainly a decent track to be able to do that.
Yes, indeed. I mean, this track is a very, very fast, obviously along down the straight, but a very, very heavy braking zone down into turn number 1. I'm on board with FTR Robert in the Mercedes. Heavy braking into turn 1, turn 2, that little kink, and then up. And this is, I believe, I really like this section, because you go uphill into turn 4, and if people know this section, this is where Max Verstappen lost his brakes in this year's Grand Prix. But as we head there, you can see the left part of the side. That is where the old format used to be. But this track is very, very unique in a sense. It's one of the, I think it's actually the only track or circuit on the grid where they have sand all the way around the track. And if you did not know, I think they had to glue it down, so if there's ever a windstorm during a Grand Prix, it doesn't obviously spray over all the track. But it looks like B. Colt did go for the fastest lap. And if people were curious, it is not by finishing result, as Shelly goes for the fastest lap at 1:28, as there we go, H Racing Green, a 1:28.8. Though if people were curious, it is not really down to obviously result. It is just down to pace, so the admins will look at it, see where to place the drivers. Obviously, one driver could, let's say, go for one less stint, and he could get a better position. It's not really determined on position. So if anyone was curious, that is how it's really determined. It's just based on pace. But as you see right now, Big C goes for the fastest lap, a 1:26.6, I believe. But yes, we do have 7.5 minutes remaining in qualifying, and many drivers are either trying to repeat their laps after a banker lap, and with 7 minutes remaining, some drivers aren't even out on circuit yet.
Really, some drivers aren't even out on circuit. Wow. Well, that's
Yeah.
certainly that will certainly be a case of trying to do one flying lap with the tyres at their optimum, and just trying to put in one lap. That's a risky strategy, certainly, but well, who knows? It could play out. We'll have to wait and see in 7 minutes time when the results will when the results will come flying in a big C, and I'll just see him go way off the track. But of course, that'll just be letting cars who are on their flying lap through. I presume either that or that was quite a big mistake.
Say huge congratulations to Big C, by the way, on winning the esports race on Thursday. I got to commentate that with Ali K. Again, if you missed that coverage or footage, go to AOR Fizzy's channel, just type in esports, and it should be one of the 3 videos that pop up. But anyway, it was a crazy last lap as he was disqualified, but he was rewarded the win. So he will have that little advantage or incentive on going through the next 2 Grand Prix. But anyway, now he has to focus on this one of where he will be in AOR in season number 14. Most likely, I do believe he'll probably be in the F1 tiers. He goes for the fastest lap of 1:28.5 with 6 minutes remaining as Big C dives it down to the pits. So many other cars trying to go back into the pits, maybe put on a new set of tires, maybe lower the fuel mix so their cars will be lighter and they can go even faster. And obviously, it looks like the sun is setting, and when that does happen, it looks like obviously the cars will probably go faster under night. So with 5.5 minutes remaining, many drivers coming in, probably going on new tires or just calling it quits in qualifying. Most likely, they'll go out for another run.
Yes, certainly. I don't see anyone calling it a quits at this early stage in qualifying. We've only done just over half the session, and we're going to see a lot of lap times being pumped in between now and the end. So, I'm just looking on board with XX Vic Star RXX. What a name. That's a really easy one to say. But yeah, in the Ferrari, he's on a flying lap, I believe, certainly, and looking decent at the moment. But then again, to be honest, I'm not a league racer, and honestly, I'm not sure if I could judge. I'm not sure if I'm the best judge in terms of league racing, to be honest. I know what it takes to be quick, and I think XX Vic Star X is actually not on a flying lap, as it turns out. So, anyway, here's the thing with qualifying is obviously we're trying to watch 20 different people all at the same time, and it's going to be frantic at certain points, and trying to keep track of all of the action is going to be difficult, certainly.
Yeah, so you were just talking about Vicstar. He is out of fuel, if you're curious. The fuel is not even blinking. Yeah, it's full red, and he's just going down every mile per hour. I think he's just putting in a rich mix, actually, down the street. But yeah, he's ran out of fuel, as many drivers trying to lower the fuel mix as much as possible. And that could be a little risky if you're going for a flying lap. Let's say you make a mistake, you go for a second lap, and bam, you're out of fuel. So a little bit of a disappointment, not much plan. Obviously, no driver would plan on running out of fuel in the qualifying session. Maybe he just got in those 2 laps, then ran out. But anyway, looks like some drivers are going back out for their runs. Like we said, they first went out for their the banker laps, and now they're going out for the times that will most likely matter, as I am on board with the Haas driver in turn 1. Can't really pronounce the name. I don't want to butcher it, so we're just going to call him the Haas driver. But with 3.5 minutes remaining, it looks like literally 3-4 cars exiting the pits, diving into the pits. Many cars. This is going to be a very busy pit road within these next couple of minutes.
Yes, certainly so. So, we've got 3.5 minutes left. That's not quite enough time to do 2 flying laps. If there's anybody on a flying lap, they'll certainly have enough time to put in more than 1 anyway. So, I'm on board with B Colt 93 in the Sauber, and certainly believe he's on a flying lap. It looks like I don't know. It's difficult to really judge, I'll be honest. We got Toro Rosso off to the side. That's some extreme getting out of the way, I'll be honest, certainly. And unless that Toro Rosso driver has run out of fuel, that is a Resi 91. Yeah, he must have run out of fuel. He's going extremely slowly. I believe he has run out of fuel with just 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go this session.
Yeah, a little bit of a disappointment. The second driver we've seen run out of fuel in this session, and that is going to be a little crucial for these drivers that wanted to go out and set lap times. Obviously, Aresi's going to have to come in and go back out again. It'll be on the wire if he wants to set a lap. Most likely, he won't have enough time to get back there. But it'll be very, very interesting to see how these drivers pay after running out of fuel in qualifying, but many, I'm looking at it, obviously some of the banker laps are still standing where they are, meaning guys, let's go to the top, seeing the Ferrari of, again, I can't really pronounce the name, Digsha? I think it's Digsha. With 2 minutes remaining, he's had that pole position. I mean, for me, it says he has pole position. I'm not exactly sure what it says for you, because sometimes this game says otherwise. Like, I did a league race yesterday, and it said one guy was 8th who actually had the pole. So, again, a little crazy going on. But anyway, I mean, a little curious on what's going on through these drivers' minds, not knowing, or also knowing the glitch, but at the same time trying to put in a fastest lap, and not other drivers seeing if they actually did get that lap or not, because sometimes it actually won't say on the dashboard for them. But I am going through the grid, and it actually looks like everyone is pretty close to each other on time. I mean, now it says FTR Robert has the fastest time in the Mercedes. Not exactly sure if that's accurate on a couple laps run, as he was trying to go for a lap and just broke the situation he was in. So obviously right now, with 1 minute remaining, these drivers will have the pressure on their shoulders. That's the fastest laps they have. We're on board with the Big C with a minute remaining, and up to 8th gear. And he's going to head into one of the heaviest braking points on this circuit. Gonna dive it down turn 1 lockup. Misses the apex a little bit. He's all the way down in 6th place on my screen. As we'll look back, and right behind him is 007 Professional, who's in 7th. The rest he has retired, so he will call it quits in this qualifying session. And I'm not exactly sure how. I mean, I'll ask you a little question, because usually towards the end of qualifying sessions, there's a little bounce of who has the pole, bounce between 2, 3, 4 drivers. How many drivers do you think will hold the pole position within this final minute?
How many drivers do I reckon will hold pole position? Oh, that's it could be a large amount of drivers, to be quite honest. It could be, I don't know, if I was putting money on it, let's say, as we nearly see a collision there involving 007 Professional. I'm going to say 5 drivers at some point will hold pole position. But honestly, who knows at this point? As we already see Jamie 995 with the fastest lap, so I presume he's taken pole position, unless that's an issue with the game. Well, who knows, honestly, at this point. And the checker flag is out, so that means everybody, well, the lap times that are set now, that's it. That is done for qualifying, and that will be how the starting grid forms.
So yes, we already saw one driver take pole position, and I would say probably 2 or 3. That's either, I wouldn't say too many, but usually it gets slingshotted between a couple drivers, as I did see. I think it wasn't Shelly, it was one other driver I saw retire. I think it was Ali D retiring from the session, so he calls it quits. As I'm on board with Cherry 2Pi. It looks like the Scottish driver to the final corner, driving for McLaren, right over the curbing. Does not lose the back end, does a fantastic job of keeping it in order. And he will enable DRS up to 8th gear, and nothing's going to end the session. He said he was in 3rd, put him down in 11th. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but many drivers calling it quits in the session after crossing the line for the final time. Looks like H Racing Green is out of fuel on the last straight you have till the main straight of the session after running out of fuel. I'm not sure who else is on the circuit.
REJ76 is on the circuit. Yep. Don't know if he's on a flying lap. I believe so anyway. Yep. So he's coming around the final corner now, actually locked up. And, well, we'll have to see where he ends up. It says at the moment he's in 2nd, but I'm not going to trust that positional counter. So he comes across the line, and now it says he's 19th, so anybody's guess as to where he is at the moment.
Well, we only really know who has a pole because it tells us who actually does get the fastest lap, and nothing else. Nothing else, but it sort of adds a little suspense. So I kind of find that a little interesting with this qualifying session that we have here. Some drivers coming into the pits with a minute remaining to actually finish out your lap, not to finish qualifying, just to finish your lap. And I think Jamie's the only one, and he drove it into the pits. So, yeah, that will end out qualifying with us not knowing who has pole or who has any other position. So that was a quick qualifying, like we keep mentioning. Though the Grand Prix, I do feel like we won't see much racing. That's my opinion, but I don't think we'll see much racing because this really isn't for points. You don't want to be racing someone and take yourself out of an evaluation race, and it can determine where you go in Season 14 of AOR. I think people are just going to try and be on their own and just try and run their own race. I don't think people will try and pass each other too much, but then again, looks like Jamie's out of qualifying with 20 remaining. But I do feel like these drivers, I mean, some might try and pass each other, some might race each other, but most likely these drivers will just be on their own, trying to set their own laps, trying to have their own pace, and, you know, just either collect data, see who's faster than them, who's slower than them for the upcoming Season 14 of AOR.
Oh yes, certainly. This is about, firstly about establishing your pace relative to the field, but also about making a good impression. That's certainly what it's about, so you don't want to be taking people out, and as we can see, we've got the qualifying results here. It's Jamie995 who's taken pole position from Aresi91 and then Ollie D631. That's the top three. Big C, the winner of the esports race, the first esports race on PS4. He is in fourth with we've got some tricky names to pronounce here. Mazai's 1997.
I mean, yeah.
Who knows? Anybody's guess. Yeah. Mazai's 1997 is in fifth. Jake LFC01 is in sixth. And I'm just looking at the spread in lap times. Digsha actually didn't set a lap time there. No idea what that's all about. Okay, well, we've got 19 people who successfully set a qualifying lap. Wow.
I was looking to the rest of the grid, but something I found very interesting, the top 11 were all 1 second of each other. And I mean, that's actually really, really close. Obviously, the difference between pole was 5/100ths of a second. If you round, it'll be 6/100ths of a second. But again, that's less than a tenth. That is literally half of a tenth. And a tenth is obviously 10% of a second. It's just weird to think about. That's how close pole position was. Obviously, now we are getting set and ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix, or the evaluation race for AOR. I believe this is the third evaluation race we have, and tomorrow will be the last one. I believe it'll be the last one, because it's usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I screwed it up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday that we have these evaluation races on. So it'll be very, very intense on these driver shoulders to perform in front of a huge crowd. And it looks like the green lights will fill in our screens for the formation lap. So obviously, I will ask you another question. I'm going to ask you a question here. Who do you think your podium picks will be for this Grand Prix?
My podium picks? Honestly, I don't know. Well, you said, and I value. Well, I think your opinion. You're more likely. You're more knowledgeable on this than me. That's the point I'm trying to get across. And you said that there is unlikely to be a great deal of racing. And if that's the case, then we might not see that much change from the qualifying position. Certainly the spread was there from first to last in terms of qualifying times. There's quite a spread in lap times. But the top bunch are very close, so I don't want to say any names. I really don't. I don't want to jinx it, but I'd say anybody who's starting in the top few positions. Let's say the top 5, top 6 has got a decent chance of finishing on the podium.
Watch yesterday's evaluation race, thanks to my good friend Cam, who was live streaming it. There wasn't much racing, but in the back there was a lot of crashes. So I think a lot of people were under pressure, but at the same time, I think the drivers in front know what they're doing. I don't want to say that, but they know what they're doing. They don't want to get into many collisions. But my top 3, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to hop on the Big C bandwagon. He has that motivation from the esports race, and I feel like he'll be the one to prevail here today. And then I believe really just the drivers starting in the top 3. 2 out of 3 of them will obviously start on the podium, but I think 5th on behind will have a challenge to come to try and get past those 4 drivers in front of them that were even faster in qualifying. So as the formation lap comes to an end, we are just moments away from the evaluation race here in Sakir.
Yes, so everybody is starting to form up to their starting positions. And in fact, we've already had an overtake on the formation lap, I believe. Well, Digsha is in. Good thing there's ghosting. Yeah, so we got Digsha who's at the back, who is actually taking his starting position. So I think we've got all 20 people who have lined up on the starting grid. And now, of course, we just got to wait for the race start proper. Okay, and here we go. So
the 5 red lights do fill on our screens. Lights out and away we go in Sakir, and it looks like to be a fantastic start from the Williams as he's on the outside. I can already see 3 wide behind. It looks like the Toro Rosso is going to go all the way out to the inside. The Williams is going to dive it down to the inside. thinks better of it, but I can see lockups in turn 1. No, I don't see any spins behind, but I think everyone kept it clean, but it was a fantastic start from Jamie, who gets away with a fantastic lead. However, it looks like to be a freight train behind from second on behind. It looks like Aresi's going to have to defend to the inside as Mercedes goes to the outside. He'll try and hold it around the outside, and it'll be wheel to wheel, but off the corner, gets in the curbing. I think they'll be wheel to wheel headed into the little S here that we have in Bahrain, but obviously the Toro Rosso driver of Aresi will prevail, as he was really much under pressure as locking up as a Haas driver of Mazai. He was about to get past, but obviously I think he was able to clear him around the outside. But other than that, it's single file as Mazai runs a little bit of wide, locking up. Again, these new cars, the cars are really wide. I think this is, obviously, if these guys didn't do the social race, it'd be one of their first league races on this new. So obviously that was a very clean start. And yeah, I mean, not much expected. Obviously, I think I did hear a spin in the back. Let me just see if anyone's off the pace. I'm looking back at the grid. I do see in 20th the Red Bull of Robin. I'm not sure what happened to him. Hopefully we have a replay. But most likely, he probably either got spun or just ran wide in the first corner. But very clean, and I'm actually surprised that nobody retired on the first lap after seeing yesterday's race. However, it looks like Aresi runs wide. He was in the second position. However, Jamie gets the fastest lap, but Aresi does fall back to 4th place.
Well, 4th place for the time being, but he's already coming under pressure, heading towards the first corner. It looks like Aresi might actually lose another position, and oh, it's so close. But in fact, Aresi has actually lost a place to the Haas driver. But one thing I was noticing earlier on is that already at the front, Jamie 995 has already opened up quite a sizable gap. And this is only after 1 lap, and there's already a good few second gap. That's obviously in part due to the massive battles second downwards. And it looks like that Jamie, he's been able to he's just been able to pull away from everyone else. And I mean, it's way too early to call, but I reckon, well, something extraordinary would have to happen for him to fall. Well, for him to lose first place at the moment, unless there's someone who's notably quicker who ends up, well, pulling away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Like, Ali D is the conductor of this train. I'm not sure how many passengers he has, but he has Big C, he has Mazai, he has Aresi, he has H Racing Green. I'm not sure how long this train goes back. It's a single file. It looks like the caboose of this one is going to be, actually, I think the caboose will be B Cole, but actually it looks like Iceman in 11th is gaining, so really, this train dates all the way up to 2nd place, and this battle for 2nd place is going to heat up as we head down the straight. DRS will be enabled this lap as Jamie crosses the line, so will Ollie D, this time obviously down the straight. Looks like the Williams driver of Big C will dive it down to the inside to try and make it a Williams 1-2. Go to the inside, and it looks like a double lockup from both, and Big C will easily get by, and I'm not sure how much longer this train will last, as Ollie D is under pressure from Mazai and many other drivers behind, including Aresi, who was in his position, fell back, and it's the same result. But actually, Big C is doing exactly what Ollie D has done for the past 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any weak link here. I think it is purely because every driver from second backwards is in a battle of some sort. They're all dicing for position. And in fact, well, as I say, that Big C seems to have opened up a bit of a gap. So it looks like we are going to see a Williams 1-2 for the time being, as Mazai, battling side by side with the Mercedes driver, Ollie D, full 3rd place. And in fact, actually, no, Mazai looks like he might go from potentially taking 3rd to, or maybe, just maybe dropping down to 5th place as the Renault driver goes up the inside. Oh, and it's still side by side battling. Of course, we would expect nothing else from AOR, and no, it looks like Mazai has been able to take, or be able to retain 4th place for the time being. But yes, it looks like that Big C in 2nd place, he's stretching away from the rest of the field. So I think Ollie D might have been holding up the train there to a certain extent, but well, certainly Big C's broken away, and it's looking like a comfortable Williams 1-2 at the moment.
As now it looks like lap number 4 will be a car. We see 3 wide action. It almost was, but Aresi is going to go to the inside for 5th place against Mazai. Diving down to the inside, moving under braking, hitting Aresi. There's contact in the hairpin. Huge carnage, and there's a huge collision as they're going to have to rejoin safely. Wow, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time, as it looks like the Renault's off with the Williams. Is that the Williams? Not sure if that was it can't be the Williams because they're 1-2 right now.
No, I think it's another
Not
Mercedes.
exactly sure what happened, but the Sauber spins in turn 3. I'm not sure if that is turn 3, as out heading up the hill. Wow, a lot going on. I think a lot of drivers were getting a little anxious on just trying to get by slower drivers and just put them in situations where they shouldn't be. But one thing that can be noted after 4 laps is if you have a train like this, and let's see what the conductor is this time. I think we have a different one as we go up. I think it's
Aresi who's currently leading the train
Okay.
from third backwards. So Aresi's been able to take third place out of all of that chaos. So we've got a Williams 1-2, a Toro Rosso 3-4. Well, I say a train. Train might be a bit harsh on Aresi because... Well, no, because the field's starting to spread out a bit. They're all certainly within DRS range of each other, so it's still certainly a train. But it looks like the field is starting to thin out a bit. As a Renault went wide in the background there. I don't know who that was, but it seemed like that the Renault drivers are showing all sorts of issues at the moment. And another lockup, and it's just all falling away at the moment.
Yeah, like we said, something that we can take noted for this is obviously if you're in a train and you do make one little mistake, you can cost yourself at least 5 positions because everyone is bunched in with you. And obviously we did see that for the last couple laps, a lot of action going on here in Zach here, just 5 laps through. And I really like this race because everyone is pretty much equal with each other in pace. Like we mentioned in qualifying, the top 11 were within 1 second of each other. And top 2 in qualifying were within 500ths of each other. So, again, people are really, really close. But I'm going to look up towards front and see how everything is doing. Because I thought I did see a battle up there. But really just looks like Williams 1-2, Toro Rosso 3-4. And speaking of Toro Rosso, a shout out to Carlos Sainz finishing P4 in today's Singapore Grand Prix. Best career result for him. But anyway, back to the race. Looks like I did see some racing back for the final points positions. Was between the McLaren Honda and the Red Bull. He was going to go a little bit defensive, but the pressure is on for the McLaren Honda driver, maintaining that final points position right behind 007 Professional. I did see Mercedes run wide. That was Ali D. And wow, Ali D's all the way back to 13th as he dives it down to the inside of the prancing horse and cannot hold it. But like we said, I'm really surprised why he's back in 13th. Like we said, probably one mistake costed him 10 positions, but Ali D looked to the inside, but a double lockup. Fastest lap from Aresi, so it looks like he is trying to do all it can to gain on the front 2 Williams drivers as it will go on board with Ali D. He'll have DRS against the Ferrari, and we'll see if he can try and create an overtake here. Not sure if he's going to look to the inside. He's going to dive it down to the inside. Just enough room, maybe a little bit of contact, but got away with it and gained a position after losing 10 in the initial beginning. But yeah, he did, I think he started 4th, and now he's back to 12th, so he lost 8 positions. So again, a little harsh for Ali D. This is, a big race for him to try and determine what tier he'll go into next season, and Ali D, the reigning and defending F2 champion in PS4 for AOR. So obviously a lot on his plate, but it looks like 10th place 007 Professional ran wide, and again, he is able... He actually did get by the McLaren Honda driver. Sorry we missed that, but getting by the McLaren Honda driver, Ali D, a late lunge. He'll be wheel-to-wheel on the back straight, and it looks like he backed out of that sticky situation, but Ali D is trying to keep the nose against the left side of, looks like OTG, diving to the inside. Again, wow, I'm surprised that Ali D is hanging out. He's putting himself in so many situations he shouldn't have been, but it looks like I saw a driver spinning off there. I think that was a Haas driver, not exactly sure who that was. But as the battles chime down, it looks like these drivers' abilities to put on a show do not.
So anyway, look back towards the front of the field. It looks like we've still got a dominant Williams 1-2 for the time being. Well, I say that, well, Big C, I think he's opened up a slight gap on the Toro Rosso drivers, but as we saw last time, Aresi setting the fastest lap, so it is entirely possible that the second place position could change, and certainly the field is starting to thin out. The top 4 are in their own little gag. Well, actually, that's a lie, because first place is long gone, and then we got Cherry 2 Pie in 6th place. Okay, hang on.
Beekel is out. Beekel has retired from today's Bahrain Grand Prix, the first one to be able to do so. So a little bit of a disappointment to Ape. He was trying to show off his skill, and it resulted in a retirement. Not exactly sure what happened, so we can't really say much on it. But there was an incident right after we switched back to you. There was something going on with the McLaren Honda driver. It was OTG. Right after we went to you, it looks like the Ferrari driver and OTG did end up spinning in the final corner. So we're just reporting that. I think they got away with no damage, so they did not pit. But Ali D did have to pit, so he's all the way back in 18th, I believe. A little harsh for him. Not sure if that was a scheduled pit stop, but yes, he's back to 18th on those softs. And I think it actually was a scheduled pit stop because he was on those super softs to begin. Or was it super softs or ultras? Because I think it was ultras.
No, I believe it was super softs at the start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Jamie's on the supers right now leading, and he has not pitted yet. So yeah, mostly everyone has started on those super softs. And like we mentioned, the drivers that were a second off the pace were really just the drivers on the soft. So imagine if everyone qualify on the same exact compound. Imagine how much closer that would be. A lot closer than it is right now. But again, only one driver out of this Grand Prix within the first 8 laps. So obviously, it looks like these drivers are trying their best to keep out a sticky situation, but it looks like contact is made for the 5th position between the McLaren Honda driver and the Mercedes of FTR Robber. They'll be wheel to wheel within the S, and it looks like just clears them and just enough to get the position. However, Robber is not done yet. A little bit of contact made. Wow. Again, I'm surprised these drivers are pushing this much, but again, they have a good reason to, as this is a race that matters, again, at which tier they'll be in next season. So I don't believe this battle's over yet. I mean, yes, it's softs versus super softs, but then again, he will have slipstream DRS. He'll probably put it up to Rich Mix down the straight, but he won't be able to capitalize on the position of Cherry 2 Pie. He'll stay right back behind him, and he'll fall into the 6th position, but it looks like Cherry 2 Pie ran wide, and he'll have the momentum heading uphill into sector number 3. So obviously, I want to stay with him for the next, maybe just until they cross the line. Maybe he'll pass him down the straight, but running a little bit of wide. And obviously, this battle has enabled Jake in the Sauber in 7th place to be able to catch up. However, we will look back at the battle for 5th. It is heating up as now we head down the DRS straight. Obviously, DRS will be enabled like it has been, but it looks like, is it both of them? No, just Cherry Dupai, who will dive it down to the pits for a scheduled pit stop. Not sure if he sped into pits, because I did see ghosting, but he will have, I think, one of the last few pit stalls because it's a McLaren Honda, but he dives into the pits. It looks like from supers to soft tires, and that will be the way to go for him. It looks like one other driver going to the pits. The Renault driver, I think, will do the same exact thing. So now the question is, we see people pitting, and I'm looking up at I think Jamie. Jamie's still leading. Yeah, Jamie's still leading. So the question is, when do you think Jamie will pit?
Well, I'd imagine, assuming he's doing a 2-stop, which I believe is the conventional strategy around Bahrain, if he's going to stop on those super softs, he's going to have to stop within the next couple of laps, I presume. He may be leading, he may be in a good position, but yeah, I mean, to prevent him being undercutted, I don't think anyone else near him has actually stopped yet. No, neither's Big C. So I'd imagine all the front runners are going to be stopping certainly within the next 5 laps, unless they're trying to do a 1-stop, which I'm not sure if it's viable around Bahrain, although I did see someone earlier on, I can't remember who it was, but I did see someone on the medium tyres, so a 1-stop zone, actually it's Mazai's who's on the medium tyres currently, all the way down in 16th place, so I'm not sure if a 1-stop is viable, but no, I'd imagine, assuming everyone's doing a 2-stop, they'll be pitting within the next, handful of laps.
You were thinking about a 1-stop. I would have started on the softs and gone to mediums. So then again, I'm not sure if you get the disqualification glitch for not hitting on which tires you should have been on. But it is still Jamie 10 laps through, leading every single lap of this Grand Prix with an easy pace ahead for seconds, 4.2 that is, with Big C in second. Third is Shelley. So it looked like either Aresi did pit. And if we check it back with Aresi, if he shows up on my little icon thing in the bottom left,
he's on the medium tires. Okay, yeah, he's in 8th place on the medium tyres. But the mediums, that's
7th place.
I'm not sure if I don't think the medium tyres can do 20-odd laps. No, I assume it's still a 1-stop strategy. No, sorry, I assume it's still a 2-stop strategy because I just do not see how a 1-stop is viable. But then again, 10 laps on the super softs, And bearing in mind that those who qualified high up would have to have started on those tyres, that's quite far, 10 laps. I mean, yeah, I mean the medium tyres is a strange one to pit on because most of the people further on down the order have pit on the soft tyres. So we could see a difference in strategy, as I've just seen actually OTG lock up and actually lose a couple of places, so he's now down into 11th position. So yeah, the battle for the final points places is still an interesting one.
Yes, we did get word from somebody in the comments that I think actually did the evaluation race yesterday that has experience from this. The medium tires will go 20 laps, so anyone pitting for mediums now can easily do a one stop. So I think that's exactly what Jamie will be doing. So let's check back with Jamie. Jamie has done exactly what I said, so a little bit of a jinx right there. Pitted for the medium, so most likely he'll go for the one stop in today's Grand Prix. That is, if he can maintain the gap. I mean, if a safety car comes out, then that's it, really. You'll probably see him going for a third stint. But like, literally, we just mentioned, I think he's going for the one stop, so anyone that is pitted within these last 2 laps for mediums will most likely be going for the one stop. If anyone is going for 3 stints, it'll most likely be super softs, softs, and maybe super softs again, or softs, just depending on the tire life of all these 3 compounds that are available today. As talking about tires, again, a new game, these tires are a lot wider, so that is why I believe the super softs are available at this track. I'm not sure if they changed the app, so that is the reason why. So later on, if we do more evaluation races that aren't here, just any other season ahead of us or any other race ahead of us, that is the reason why, if anyone did not know that. So it looks like who assumed the lead will be Jamie's teammate, Big C, who is on those super soft tires. I think he'll be pitting this lap, doing the exact same thing. Obviously, he has not pitted yet. It'd be a smart thing to pit right now, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. And it'd be a smart thing to do to put on the mediums. We will see what Big C puts on as he gets it under the limit. And most likely, I think it'll be those white wall tires as he dives it to the pits.
Yeah, they're definitely mediums.
Yep, it'll be the white wall tires. However, he will lose his provisional leading position he has when he entered the pits. And I think it looks like his teammate goes by, Jamie. We'll go on it on board with 5th place, which will be 4th place now, which will be Woody. And he's in 4th place. He's on those soft tires. And I believe he has made a pit stop. Nope, he is not. So maybe he can be pitting within these next 2 laps for maybe even either mediums, or if he maybe stretches it for a long, long time, maybe super softs, and maybe hope something may happen down the road. But it looks like even Aresi was able to do the undercut and got ahead of Big C. So it really looked like that Aresi had a lot of ground made on Big C, so he was able to get ahead of him through the undercut. So 12 laps through out of 29. Looks like the action will be going as Mazai has retired from this session. So a little bit of a disappointment for him, but looks like the Mercedes of FTR Robber has not pitted yet. We will be waiting for when he actually does, but I think he actually has pitted, believe it or not. No, he hasn't. Top 2 has not pitted. They're both on the softs, so they may be going for the mediums. Maybe because they weren't capable of running the super softs to the mediums. But then again, I think we'll be seeing Robber pit within these next 3 laps. So what's your take on this?
Well, actually, no, I think he's coming into the pits right now, so he's pitting
right
from
now.
the soft tyres, so there's no need to speculate on the strategy. We should get an insight as to what he's doing, but it just seems to me that most people are doing the one stop, or most people higher up the field are doing a one stop, and yes, he's fitting on the medium tyres, so he presumably will be doing a one stop strategy like certainly a lot of the front runners, and that just seems to be the way to go, because there are a few people further on down the field who are currently on the soft tyres. They're going to have to stop the second time, especially if they started on the soft tyres. And yeah, I mean, I think that's most of the major most of the pit stops made in the top positions, so we should get an idea of what the actual race order is, as it is. Well, on my screen, it sometimes it says Iceman 82100 is leading, but I believe he's down at the back of the field. Sometimes it says he's leading and sometimes not, but I believe he's actually in the exact opposite place. So it should be Jamie995 who's currently leading in the Williams. Again, he's led most laps this Grand Prix, and well, he's a good several seconds ahead of Aresi, who's in 3rd, who of course is ahead of his teammate. Or ahead of Jamie's teammate, so that's Big C who is in 3rd place, and we got Shelley still in 4th. So it's certainly the top 4 are in a league of their own. I believe 5th place is Cherry 2 Pie. Actually, Cherry 2 Pie isn't too far behind, but he's on the soft tyres, so he's bound to have to stop a second time. So that's, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he might have, you know, some kind of super strategy under his sleeve, but I do not see him finishing that high up anyway. But then again, Ollie D is also on the soft tyres. We got a few different people on the soft tyres, a few on the mediums, but certainly I think the top 4, i.e. the 2 Toro Rossos and 2 Williams, are in a class of their own at the moment. Jamie 995 leading by a good few seconds, and well, we've done almost half of the Grand Prix, and it looks like, well, Jamie 995, he's led most of the Grand Prix, and I think he's going to continue to lead the rest of the Grand Prix.
Yes, speaking about the Toro Rossos and the Williams, there will be a battle brewing up within these next couple of laps between Aresi and Big C. I mean, they're maintaining the gap, so most likely Big C has enough pace to keep up, and not only that, he'll have a slipstream down the straight, and plus, most likely he does have the newer compound of medium, so obviously he'll be able to keep up with Aresi. But I forgot what I was going to say. There was going to be one other thing that I was going to say, but most likely we are halfway through this Grand Prix. It looks like the top 4, like we said, are in a class of their own. As we look back at 5th place, it looks like Ollie D has recovered from his earlier incidents we've seen in this Grand Prix. He is right now trying to get ahead of Cherry 2 Pie, and like we mentioned before, these two were at it before, and I think it was actually the other Mercedes, not exactly sure, but Cherry 2 Pie is ahead of Ollie D halfway through this Grand Prix, and the gap is maintaining, I think, is it a half a second? I think it's a little more than half, 6/10 of a second. So battle between 5th place could be happening. But Jamie goes for the fastest lap. That's what I was going to say. A couple laps ago, Jamie did set the fastest lap. And like again right now, he goes for the fastest lap as Aresi goes even faster across the line. So actually, he is pulling away from Big C, despite maintaining gap, believe it or not. So I actually do think Big C is only maybe like a couple hundredths of a second off of Aresi. I mean, if they are maintaining that gap and Aresi just got the fastest lap, they must be really, really close on pace.
Oh, certainly so, but also Big C's obviously being helped by the DRS, which Aresi is not getting, being several seconds behind Jamie D. So certainly, I mean, looking at the other Toro Rosso driver, we got Shelley, the other Toro Rosso driver. It looks like, just throughout this stint, it looks like he's been, losing a bit of time compared to a Big C and Aresi, and also he's outside the DRS range. And with a track like this, where there's 2 long straight, well, no, more than 2 long straights, but there's 2 long DRS straights. If you're outside DRS range, it's going to be very difficult to be able to keep up with the rest of the field.
Yes, definitely. We were looking up to the rest of the field, and we were talking about Aresi. I mean, this grid order has changed quite a lot. I thought because remember back in the beginning stage of this Grand Prix, both of us said the top 4 will stay the same. It maybe shifted around a little bit, but the top 4 will stay the same. So I believe it was, I think it was Big C, Jamie, Ollie D, and Aresi in the top 4. And mostly it's the same, but the difference is Ollie D has had his problem, and he's trying to recover from that. Lap 15 out of 29 on his onboard, and he is still maintaining the gap with Cherry Pie. I'm going to look back to see if there's any other battles going on. I mean, looking with Iceman for 8th. Looks like FTR Robber is right all over his rear as he runs wide. We may see a pass down the straight. DRS will be enabled, as it looks like behind. Robber will dive it down to the inside if he has a chance to do so. He will do it now. The Spanish driver to the inside of the Renault. However, late braking from the Renault, he runs it very wide as he locks up. It's a double lockup. However, it looks like FTR Robber was able to inch ahead of the Renault. So now as we head uphill onto lap number 16 on board with him, and it looks like Robber was able to make up that place. So it's pretty good driving right there. Just was able to not lock up as much. But speaking about the Renault, if you look behind Iceman, his teammate, H Racing Green, his nationality is North Korean, but the 10th place driver of H Racing Green hasn't had much going on for him. He did have an okay start, but obviously got shuffled back within the mixed standings because earlier these drivers were in a train. I think he was one of the few drivers to make a mistake as he fell back, but is now trying to improve his way back up towards the top 10 as he is holding on to the single final point-paying position as 007 Professionals back in 11th with that Red Bull, the number 4 driver. As we look back, I think the gaps between these drivers from 10th on back are just really, really spread out. I mean, 13th and 14th are within a second of each other. If I go back to actually a good battle for 15th between the pink and orange car diving down to the inside. The McLaren makes contact and runs him wide. Wow, that's a little aggressive, just to say the least. Looks like OTG was very desperate to get by, and he was probably hoping the cameras weren't on him. But I think he had his bad luck there, as we had the cameras on him. But right now, for 15th place, I mean, I'm a little surprised. For 15th place, a non-points paying position. Though he is in 15th, we look back on the grid, not many other battles going on. We do have 18 drivers in this Grand Prix, like we mentioned earlier. There are 2 drivers who have retired. Remember, the first one was on lap 8, but it's Jamie who has a lead and has been actually creating a 3-second gap within these last couple of laps, actually, because last time we checked in, it was, I believe, 4.5 seconds. Now it's 7.7 between him and Aresi.
Yeah, so we've still got the incredibly close battle between Aresi and Big C, the battle for 2nd place. But Big C, despite the constant DRS, he's never really been in a position to be able to overtake. Not that we've seen anyway. I mean, certainly we haven't actually noticed any real attempted passes or any contact like we saw further down the field with the battle for 15th place. But let me just see if we can. Well, certainly Jamie is actually pulling out a gap, because it now says the gap between Aresi and Jamie is 7.9 seconds. We'll have a look at what the gap is when we come across the line to start the 18th lap. Is the lap counter going off of the leader? No, it's going off of the driver we're currently viewing. So Aresi still 7.9 seconds behind, and it's going to be a familiar story. We've still got Big C with the DRS, and he's incredibly close, locking up, but still hasn't been able to attempt to pass. But assuming there's no more pit stops, it's just going to be on-track racing until the end. 11 laps, and I'm sure at some point a pass will be attempted.
Yes, eventually. I keep looking back with Big C and Aresi. I'm just quite shocked that they are maintaining these positions they are in. And most likely they will keep battling to the end of this thing, because I believe most of these drivers will not be pitting, as we do have 12 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. The gap is 7.7 again, so it looks like Aresi was able to dent out 2 tenths off of Jamie, who is still leading this thing. And he does have a lapped car. Oh, I think that's 007 Professional between, to have that in mind. But still, Big C's behind, and after that, in 4th place is Shelly. The top 4 have absolutely put on a masterclass performance. These 2 constructors done a phenomenal job today, both pulling that off, as it looks like Cherry 2 is in 5th. And actually, not sure what happened to Ollie D. I think he had to make another pit stop. Though Jake is now in 6th in the Sauber. 7th is FTR Robber. 8th is H Racing Green. 9th is 007 Professional, so it was not that driver who was getting lapped. 10th is Digsha. 11th will be Iceman. And 12th will be Ollie D, so I think he did have to make another pit stop. He's on his 3rd and probably final stint of this Grand Prix. In 12th place, he will not be pitting again. So most likely, he just hopes to probably finish in the points. That is his main goal. But looking back at the rest of the grid, again, single file, good amount of gaps. I think these drivers can now really just push to show off their pace and probably go for some fastest laps now, that all of these drivers know that they can finish this Grand Prix on those medium tires.
But just to check, Iceman, did it say for you that he was in 10th place?
Let me see.
Because,
he is...
Because Iceman is the one person which I keep spectating he's a very unpredictable one, because currently it says he's leading, which obviously he's not. We know that's Jamie. But then not too long. Yeah, now it says he's 14th. But you said earlier on he's in 10th. There's something very weird going on.
I said he's in 11th.
11th. Okay, well either way,
yeah.
For the past minute or so he's been in 14th or 1st for me. So something very weird going on with Iceman. But either way, he's only competing. Well, I say only. I don't want to undermine his achievement, but he's competing for. Well, it depends where a points position. Maybe it depends whether he's in 11th or 14th. Honestly.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a problem. I'm spectating Iceman, and there actually is a Ferrari right in front of him on your screen. There is no Ferrari. Maybe a small problem. There's no Ferrari in front of his screen. That's a little bit of a problem, because on my screen, Iceman is literally right about to overtake Digsha.
That's not what I'm seeing on my screen. On my screen, I've seen
Little bit of a
Iceman.
problem.
On my screen, Iceman had spun off, was reversing
Oh.
onto the track, and then I think he made contact with a Haas. Well, a Haas went into him, but I don't think. Oh no, because of course damage has been turned off for this. But and now it says Iceman's leading again. Honestly, and now Iceman, has he run out of fuel? Because he's only going 49 miles
No,
an
he's
hour.
in the pits. He's in the pits because now he just stopped. I think on your screen, yeah, he has the pit limiter on because on my screen he just pitted.
Yeah,
and now he put on another set of softs.
Yeah, he's just
So-
teleported into the pits on my screen. I would love to explain what's going on with Iceman, but I can only assume it's some sort of connection issue because
Okay,
I believe everyone else, both me and you, Alan, I believe we're seeing the same. I believe, you know, we're...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether it's a connection issue on my end or... But I don't know, there's definitely something weird going on, but certainly it's still Jamie leading. We got Aresi in second, who's a good several seconds behind. And, you know, it seems to be conventional from then on in. There's just something strange going on with Iceman's connection, or I don't know. I have no idea what's going on at this point.
Yeah, that was so Rusty goes for the fastest lap. We were just talking about him. It looks like now I think it's now 6. Is it 6.2? I believe. No, that's really weird because the gap was 7 seconds. It said Aresi went for the fastest lap, and then it went to 8.2 seconds. Again, I'm a little confused by everything going on, but then again, we have some fantastic racing going on today with 8 laps. I think it's either 8 or 9 laps remaining. I think it's 9 laps remaining in this Bahrain Grand Prix in this evaluation race. Looks like the Force India driver just let him by, obviously, lapped car. And that's just weird. Now it just said he went into 17th with nobody passing him. So yeah, a lot of problems going on today. A lot of stuff can be noted. But the thing that will not be noted is obviously these drivers running in the positions that they'll be running in. And that'll obviously be looked at, hopefully by AOR and everything going on. Because, you know, we can't have this stuff going on in the actual league races. So this is good that we're having these test races to see what's happening with the game. But then again, you know, the game is fantastic. The cars look fantastic. It's just they have to have the cherry on top. And it looks like, looking at the battle for second, we keep mentioning this battle for second, and Aresi is still hanging on. This gap is still pretty much the same, and I'm really surprised that they're maintaining the gap. Actually, the gap has probably increased, maybe by a couple tenths, but I am looking back at the rest of the grid, and it pretty much looks like they're single file. Not much other racing going on, and I'm hoping you see the same exact thing. But
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep, Ollie D's back into the points. He has a single point hanging on his shoulder.
We got
so
Cherry 2 Pie from
good.
5th place, who's coming into the pits from the soft tyres. So this was kind of inevitable. He was one of those drivers who was on the soft tyres, who's going to have to come into the pits again. And he's fitting on another set of super soft tyres, so he's going to be falling away down the order. He's currently in 8th place, 9th. Oh, I think he's going to be dropping potentially outside of the points positions. We got Ollie D, who's currently in 10th place, and I think he's going to be able to get past. And, well, actually, no, it could be close on pit exit. No, but I think Cherry 2 Pie, he's been able to get ahead. But obviously now we've got Ollie D, who's on warm medium tyres, and Cherry 2 Pie, who's on some brand new super soft. So there shouldn't really be any competition there in terms of pace. But Cherry 2 Pie, I believe one of the 2 stoppers. And, yeah, this is, yeah, I mean, I don't know actually how far is he behind 007 Professional. Oh, there's no point looking at the gap. I don't know what the gap is. No, hang on. I think there's a 9-second gap between Cherry 2 Pie and 000 Professional.
Yep.
So...
Or 10 seconds.
Okay, 9-10 second gap.
9.9,
so,
yeah.
yeah, so actually, if Cherry 2 Pie have these brand new super soft tyres, if he's able to get these tyres up to speed, he could just about close up on 007 Professional, but he's gonna need to catch up with about a second a lap, roughly, and that's going to be tough to do. But we're talking about warm medium tyres versus brand new super soft tyres, so that could be a battle to watch out for come the later stages of the race.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really surprised what's going on because it looked like Cherry 2 Pie in 9th. It did get, obviously, he exited the pits, but he did appear right in front of Ali D, and he has increased that gap by multiple seconds in just this lap. Obviously, super softs will obviously win no matter what against medium tires, unless if it's, again, how durable they are. But other than that, the pace is showing. However, I'm looking back with H Racing Green and 007 Professional. who eventually could be passing each other. They're both on the medium tires, and I think they both pitted around the same exact time. So we could see a battle going on for 7th position. Look through the rest of the grid. I think everyone else is maintaining their position. Shelly has fallen off the pace of Big C, who's in 3rd. But other than that, I think those are the only two drivers who really just have a shot at passing each other in their final dying stages of this Grand Prix. Though, right now, I think it's actually H Racing Green who has picked up the pace, and actually, well, nope, it just jinxed me. Ran a little bit wide, and looks like the Red Bull driver will be trying to improve. He did have a better exit, but still, that gap is increasing between the two. And I'm not exactly sure what 007 Professional is going to do till the end of this Grand Prix. Will he just maintain 8th position or try and get by H Racing Green and trying to risk his car? But then again, most of these drivers, I think, probably won't be planning on passing each other. We have, I think it's 6 laps ago, I think now 5 laps ago for the front runners. But the question I have is, I keep looking back at Aresi and Big C. Do you think these drivers will ever try and pass each other within these laps, couple laps of this Grand Prix?
I would imagine if an overtake's going to happen, it's going to happen in the last couple of laps. Because, if it is ever going to happen, of course, I mean, this is still an evaluation race. There's no point, going for anything overly ambitious. We want to. It's about establishing pace and proving that you're a clean racer. It's not necessarily about your overall finishing position. But Big C, he's been behind for a long time. He's still, I believe, certainly within DRS range. And the thing is, though, is there's just never really been a time where Big C's been close enough to Aresi to be able to reasonably make an overtake. But I believe if any sort of lunge is going to happen, it would happen the last couple of laps, I reckon. But yeah, I mean, still, I'm on board with Big C now, and there's still, I mean, it's too big of a gap to make a dive bomb. Realistically, it's within DRS range, but that's it really. It's not within really overtaking range.
Yes, definitely. As obviously the gap is still around half of a second. We'll keep our eyes pinned on these two until the end of this Grand Prix, see if they ever try something. But speaking about Williams, it looks like Jamie has pulled off to a comfortable lead of, look at the time, 10.6 seconds between him and Aresi. And that'll have some good motivation going towards not only the end of this Grand Prix, but also Season 14. Yeah, I think he has the fastest lap, and he's leading most of the laps. Most likely, might be able to go in the F1 tier just from seeing this result. Most likely. But looking at the back of the rest of the grid, it's obviously Big C. I see Big C gaining a lot through the corners, but down the straight, believe it or not, it's Aresi who pulls away despite Big C having DRS. But I think through corner speed, it's Big C who has it better. I mean, even though I just jinxed him and he had a terrible entrance, but locking up in this next corner, hitting the apex, unlike Aresi. And he gained back that time he just lost. But looking back at the rest of the grid, I mean, I just saw Jake move into the 5th position. Obviously, he was in 6th, and Cherry 2 Pie did pit, so that moved everyone up a position that is now ahead of Cherry 2 Pie. So Jake is in a comfortable 5th place. He is on those medium tires, so most likely he will finish the race on those tires. So obviously, I'm looking at it now. One of the comments says, one of the comments said that it looked like Big C was losing a lot of time in the middle sector. I wasn't really catching that, though I do see that happening. The middle sector just loses a lot of time, and it looks like in Sector 3, he gains a lot of time back. But in this final corner between Aresi and Big C, hopping over the corner is Aresi. It looks like down the straight Aresi would prevail, despite Big C having DRS. However, this is one of the reasons why Big C maintains a gap. Puts up in the rich mix, has DRS, and just gets right to the back rear of Aresi. This is where he gains all the time. As you look to the inside thing of it, and I think he is eventually planning on an overtake on Aresi, but we do not know when, as it looks like Aresi did go defensive, trying to get and break away from that slipstream that Big C had on Aresi. And it looks like these two drivers will be fighting till the very end of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, just an update on the battle for 7th position, I believe. I mean, on my screen it says 8th place, but who knows. But the battle between Cherry 2 Pie, the McLaren driver who fit on the new set of Super Softs, and 007 Professional, the gap is certainly closed. It's actually, well, specifically, the gap between the two drivers is... Okay, well, that's... I believe the gap is 1.4 4 seconds is the gap currently between Cherry 2 Pie and 007 Professional. So that means that Cherry 2 Pie, on those brand new, well, slightly worn now, but on those relatively new super soft tyres, he's catching up to 007 Professional. He's nearly inside DRS range. Won't be for this DRS straight, but actually it's not just 007 Professional that he's catching up to. It's also H Racing Green, who isn't too far up ahead. So potentially, well, I say, well, almost certainly, that there's a couple of positions up for grabs for Cherry 2 Pie. It's just a question of whether he'll be able to make the overtakes in time. But we've got a little over 3 laps left to go. I'm sure he'll be able to do it.
Yes, exactly. As DRS is enabled, he may try and look to the inside as Arussi misses the apex, as it looks like obviously the lights are coming on, and it looks like the sky's getting even darker. The track will get even faster. These cars will get even faster as within these last 3 laps. And it looks like Big C has finally figured out what it means to try and pass Aresi. I mean, this could be a good battle. Obviously, it is a good battle. It could be the battle till the end of the race. Like we said, these drivers will be battling till the end of this Grand Prix. And like we mentioned, he just lost a lot of time. Like we mentioned, he loses a lot of time in the middle sector, in the end of Sector 1. But he usually gets weaknesses, as it looks like we had another double lock up there between Aresi, as it looks like the gap has increased between him and Jamie by just a couple tenths. Now it's 10.8, as it looks like getting ever so close. Big C is trying to get by Aresi within these last few laps of this Grand Prix. Not any other battles happening on screen, so we will resume coverage with these two. All of these drivers trying to give what it takes towards these last couple of laps. Obviously, these drivers will be pushing hard to the limits within, like we mentioned, these last couple of laps. Big C, again, here we go, hits the apex, so it's a good exit. And now he'll have Slipstream, Rich Mix, and DRS, and this is where he gains all of his time back. 2 laps to go, and Sack here. And the battle's just getting started as Aresi will move to the inside. It may be Big C to the outside again. He's going to switch, and he goes to the inside, but not enough. Over the curbing, almost. I think if he just waited one more lap and tried out on the final lap, I think he could have had him. Now that gap is still the same. Now, the question is, will Big C get by Aresi? I will ask you that. I think my answer to that will be yes. What's yours?
Oh, I reckon. I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it's certainly is going to come down to a last lap lunge, and if Big C he might put it all on the line and just brake really late to try and get the edge on Aresi, but it almost seems like to me that Big C is running a higher downforce setup, because despite the fact he has DRS, he never really closes up on the straights as much as you would expect. I mean, as we can see, he gets really close, but I think if an overtake does happen from Big C, it's going to happen in spectacular fashion. It's going to be a close battle, certainly, heading down towards the first corner, which, well, we're nearly there, actually. So we just got 1 corner left to go. Of course, no DRS down this particular straight, but it's all about the exit from the final corner. We've got Big C, and he's still going to get a relatively decent exit, and we're coming up towards the DRS line. And this is now or never, as far as I'm concerned, for Big C. He's gaining ever so slightly on Aresi.
I don't think he has it.
No, he did.
That's gonna be it. That's most likely will be it. The comments did say there's a huge battle going on that we did miss for 7th place. 2 laps ago, this wasn't even happening, but Cherry Pie just squeezed on through, took 7th place, and now the battle will be up for 8th place between him and 007 Professional, the American driver, on the very last lap of this Bahrain Grand Prix. It looks like most of the drivers will have the fuel blinking in red, as they have given all they have in this last Grand Prix that we have here on the very last lap. Losing the back end in turn 1 and headed up the hill in turn 3, and the kink in turn 3, headed up the hill, and it looks like H Racing Green will hang on to the position. But I want to see where Jamie is on track. It is the last lap, obviously, and it looks like he is heading through the final sector now for the final time. He has led the most laps in this Grand Prix. He has gotten the fastest lap and started on pole, and he is showing everyone that he is going to be a serious threat if he makes it into the F1 League, as he is now on the penultimate back straight, or just the penultimate straight. Now we head into the final corner just ahead of us, the final lap of this Grand Prix. Jamie's headed on through to take the victory, and through the final corner, Jamie will cross the line as he takes victory, and Sakir wins the Bahrain Grand Prix in a dominating fashion. However, Big C all over Aresi, not gonna have enough time. Big C barely runs out of time, and Aresi hangs on to second. He gained a lot of time through those sectors, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Big C found a lot of time, but wasn't able to capitalize on it. However, the battle between 8th is heating up. 007 Professional did get by. However, H Racing Green isn't done yet. Goes to the outside on the final lap. Cannot improve through the final corner. It will be if these drivers run wide. It looks like H Racing Green does. 007 Professional crosses the line in 8th place for Red Bull. Very, very interesting finish. As we look back, Ollie D claims the final scrappings of the points we have. P10, a single point for Ollie D. As it looks like 11th will be Star for the Ferrari. We have not mentioned him yet in this Grand Prix, believe it or not. He will cross the line in 11th with his teammate in 12th. Good teammate work there towards the end. Looks like the Force India driver hangs on as Iceman's in 14th. Barely gets ahead. And I think that'll be it for the Grand Prix. As a Red Bull driver crosses the line, and that'll be it for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And wow, I mean, that finish was actually really, really good. What was your take on it?
Yeah, oh, certainly an exciting finish. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the race did plateau out and get a bit boring towards the middle stint, but very exciting start, a very interesting end actually of the difference in strategy, for example, with Cherry 2 Pi on those super soft tyres. But as you can see, the podium, it's just, well, it's been dominance from Jamie here, to be honest, and yeah, I mean, it's certainly, this Grand Prix, it's just been a story about the two Williams drivers and the two Toro Rosso drivers, quite a way ahead of the driver in 5th, who was Jake, I believe, who's in 5th place. We'll have a look at the race standings now. Yes, we got Jake LFC01 in 5th place, and he was a good 10 seconds behind Chalet in 4th, so certainly Jamie 995 dominated the Grand Prix. And then you've got, well, then the top 3 in a class of their own, and then, well, it's just, well, as we can see the standings, it's pretty self-explanatory from there downwards. In fact, there's quite a gap between Ollie D in 10th and Vic Star downwards, really. It was the top 10 was significantly ahead of those who finished outside of the points positions. And then we got the two non-finishers, B Colt 93 and Mazai, who retired, and we're not quite sure why.
Yeah, as we just saw the podium celebrations. If we were to pick a driver of the day, I would say my picks would be on FTR. Robert started 11th, finishes in 6th, and with 8 seconds of penalties, will still finish 6th. Gained many positions and put on a show. All these drivers put on a show. And some people wanting some driver interviews, so we will most likely get that. So we were going to finish it out, but we may as well try and get some driver interviews in here. So I'll invite it. Don't worry about pausing or anything. Just stay in the screen. We'll try and invite some drivers. We'll try and invite their Grand Prix winner, Jamie. And we'll try and invite a couple others to the party and finish this one out strong. So. Oh crap! I don't have these I don't have these drivers on my friends list, so I can't add them. Let me send a quick friend request to Jamie. Hoping these drivers don't leave quickly. Jamie, accept my friend request.
Jamie's going to be, assuming he knows that we're trying to arrange a sort of interview here. I'm sure he'll be happy to talk about that race, because that was dominant. I'll be honest, potentially a bit boring from his perspective. Actually, that's something I want to ask. Is because he wasn't really, I don't believe, ever under pressure that entire Grand Prix. I don't remember. No, I don't think so. I think ever since from lap 1 until the end, certainly for most of the Grand Prix, he led every lap, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I think every single lap except the lap he pitted. But I mean, he almost got a Grand Slam, I believe.
Yes.
A Grand Slam is when you lead every lap on pole, fastest lap, and winning the Grand Prix. That's really rare. I won't say really, but it is rare to see it happen. But I don't think Jamie's added me, so I mean, we may try and invite someone else. I know Ali D's on my friends list. I know Aresi is. We may try inviting Aresi. He did finish up, I believe, on the podium. He finished second, obviously. So we'll invite. No, never mind. He just got offline. Literally, as I click on his name. We'll go with Big C, who finished third. Is he's still in the session, so obviously he's still on the game. So, yeah, I mean, from a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this race went? As Big C just joined, we'll ask him a question in just a second. So, a scale from 1 to 10, how do you think this evaluation race was? Because I'm going to put a solid 8 out of 10, because that was fantastic racing.
Oh yeah, I mean certainly 7 or 8. Certainly, I mean it had its low points towards the middle, I believe, but I mean certainly there was I think pretty much always there was action going on, whether it be even if it was outside of the points positions, there was always action going on. So certainly an exciting race. Yes, 7 or 8 out of 10. I'd personally rank it.
Okay, so we have Big C in our party, and we were trying to get Aresi and Jamie in the party, but we weren't able to, so we went down to our third man on the grid order. So first off, I'd have to say congratulations on the esports victory again on Thursday. I mean, I congratulated you on Twitter, but then again, a formal congratulations. You did a fantastic job, but a third place today in today's evaluation race. What was the thoughts going through your mind trying to get by Aresi within the final stages of this race?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, for the whole medium stint, so it was like 18 laps, I was like within a second all race, so I was just trying to nail the exits, but he seemed to be really good in the final corner especially, and I think he won slightly low wings. I know his time trial setup's got 4 wings, and I was running like 5-6, so I knew it was going to be hard. I think in hindsight I probably could have been a bit darer on the brakes, but I didn't really want to lose time to Shelly behind, so I mean I was quite comfortable with the top 3 finish, so yeah. It was good just to finish 1/10 behind because he's the reigning champion, and yeah, I think 10 seconds off the lead when I lost like 4 seconds in the first stint anyway. So I lost 6 seconds on the medium stint to Jamie, who's the bar. He's really quick and finished quite ahead of me in the championship last season. So yeah, I was quite happy with how it went.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any questions for him, Nathan?
Yeah, sure. Because you were in second prior to the pit stops onto the medium tyres. Do you reckon, in hindsight, that was a mistake? So, I mean, going around Bahrain again, another race, would you try and, pit early or, keep an eye on other people just to try and prevent you being undercutted and losing positions like we saw?
Yeah, 100%. Me and Jamie both driving the Williams, and he took the lap I wanted. So, yeah, I had to go around another lap, and the lap was like 2-3 seconds slower because the tyres were like on 80%. So, yeah, I forgot Jamie was in the same car as me. So, yeah, I mean, if we were in different teams, I would have appeared and probably came out ahead of Aresi, and I don't know how it would have been. It could have been role reversal, or we could have battled, or I could have pulled away. I don't know, but I think all in all, my pace was very strong, and I think I proved that I should be in the F1, the top league for the upcoming season. So hopefully that's what happens. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Big C, and congratulations on a third place, and again, the esports victory, and hope to see you have more success in the esports championship. 2 races remain. If you want to see that championship, go to AOR Fizzy's channel, and thank you for joining us in the booth today for a couple quick questions, and yeah, thank you for putting on a good show. As he just left the session for the party. So, next, a couple people in the chat put for one last interview. They want to see Ali in there because he's having a little bit of a fit after starting in the top 4. So we will get Ali in here, and this is going to be quite interesting if he's still online. That is. Let me go through the party. Luckily, he's on my friends list, so I don't have to worry about that. Jamie actually just accepted my thing, so we could actually ask him if he wants to. But Ali is still on, so we'll invite him, and then we'll invite Jamie at the end if people want it. But we'll just wait for Ali to join, and then we will interview him, obviously. So, yeah, that was a very, very interesting Grand Prix. I did get word from Alex. He wants us to do this next week, trying a different coverage footage, whatever, because the quality of this wasn't so good, and I did see your stream from the beginning. There was a notification from the top right, like, saying that the network wasn't that good, and he wants you to wait till streaming till you get to university.
Yeah,
that's what I heard from him.
Well, this is the kind of the big caveat is I've moved to my university accommodation, so this is the internet we'd have to put up with, which was always the big kind of sticking point. I mean, if it was a low quality stream, then I'm very sorry about that. There's very little I could do. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, if that's the case, I might have to bow out of hosting the stream. Certainly, I mean, there's nothing to say that I can take part as a commentator, but I think hosting the stream might have to go to someone else.
Yep. So we have Ali D in the party, I believe, and not too satisfied with the result you got today. You qualified within the top 4, and you barely finished in the points. What happened, Ali? You were running so well in the beginning.
Yeah, so effectively I messed up my strategy really badly. I did 2 stops instead of 1, and also I got taken out twice, so yeah.
Okay. Nathan, do you have any questions for him?
Oh, I know. I mean, honestly, I mean, we didn't actually. I mean, certainly, I didn't actually see your takeouts. Did that happen before your first pit stop?
Yeah, I believe it was lap 3. Like, some guy just dive bombed me into turn 1 and took me out.
Oh yeah, we got that on footage. Nice. Oh, I remember that one. Not because we did see you fall back in the early stages. There's a lot going on in turn 1. We saw like 3-4 cars going off the circuit. But it sucks that you were involved in that incident. Hopefully, there are more, obviously, evaluation races happening in the near future. So, hopefully, you can redeem yourself in the future. But thank you for joining us in the booth for a couple quick questions. And thank you again for putting on a good show.
Cheers.
Cheers. So, I want one more person. I want to get Jamie in here since you're accepted my friend request. And then we'll end it out. This stream actually hasn't been going on that long. So, that's one of the reasons why I want to ask one more person and we can finish it out. But, is Jamie still online? Yes, he is. We'll invite Jamie, and if he doesn't join, we'll just end it out. But, yeah, very interesting Grand Prix in Bahrain. I'm looking forward to the future races we commentate together, because that was, sure, a fantastic race to start it off. But, yeah, again, a fantastic race. A lot of these drivers were very, very close on pace and putting on a good show, indeed, to say the least. Though, there's a lot of dive bomb attempts I've seen. There was one where Big C tried on the Resi. There's a turn 3 incident. There's one between the Force India driver and the McLaren. There's a lot going on as Jamie joins a party, our Grand Prix winner. How lonely did you feel in the front of the pack after almost getting a Grand Slam, I believe? You did get pole fastest lap and obviously won the Grand Prix. How did you accomplish that today?
Yeah, would you say, honestly, that was boring? Because you dominated that race. I mean, you led, I think, every lap apart from when the pit stop phase was shaking out. Would you, honestly, did you find that boring? Or did you find it easy as well? That boring and easy? Because that's how it looked just watching you drive there. Well, that's what comes when you absolutely dominate a Grand Prix.
We are getting word from the chat that Jamie, you don't have the audio being shared. So when we interviewed you, nobody could hear you. So okay. Well, since it's just a practice race, we're not really going to bother asking these questions again. So just a little heads up for the future. If we commentate the F1 League with you when you're racing, if we ask you a question, just make sure to have the audio being shared with the broadcast on. So that is something to note. Hopefully we can tell the drivers on the PS4 F1 League in the future. But I think... So, thank you everybody for tuning in to today's evaluation race. This was the third race of this sort of weekend starting on Friday all the way up to Monday. This is the third race. Obviously, it's Sunday. It was 8 p.m. British Standard Time. If you want to tune in again, I believe Nathan and I will be commentating again next week. That's what Alex wants us to do. I'm not exactly sure if you're free next time, but obviously it was a fantastic Grand Prix for people tuning in. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. For me in the booth, Atro Cavi, alongside PS Loot and Rules. A fantastic Grand Prix. Please tune in next week, and don't forget to tune in and watch the Esports Championship on AOR Fizzy's channel on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, respectively, for Xbox, PC, and PS4. I'm Atro Cavi, alongside PS Loot and Rules, with Jamie. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching, and take care.